Hi everyone, it's Joe here. Hope you're all doing well. So in this video today I want to talk a little bit about living in the end, the concept explained by Neville Goddard, but also with relation to this I want to talk a little bit about mental diets and how they are just as, if not more important than the actual living in the end imaginal scene itself. Okay, so as we know, the steps of Neville Goddard to manifest our desires is, in the first instance, we define our objective. We know exactly what we want, whether that be a relationship, specific person, we want to manifest a better job, we want to manifest more money, whatever it may be, we define that objective, we know definitely what we want. The second step is we construct a scene which implies fulfillment, not how it's going to come about. We construct the scene which implies that we have actually received our desires, that we are living our desires. The third step is we immobilise the physical body, we ignore the external senses, we get into that state called a state akin to sleep, where we're just bordering on sleep, we're not fully sleeping, and we get the control of our inward attention. From that point, we then play out the scene in imagination from first person point of view. We don't do it as if it's a screen in space, we do it from the first person point of view. Okay? We repeat the scene over and over until it takes on the tones of reality. We feel what we should be feeling, we hear what we should hear, we see what we should see, at which point when it feels real we can either fall asleep in that state of fulfillment or we can come out of the meditation knowing that it's done. Okay, so that's the ultimate steps Neville Goddard explains on manifesting. So where does mental diets come into this? So a mental diet ordinarily is our current inner dialogue. It's what we tell ourselves on a day-to-day basis, and a lot of people who try to manifest a specific person or a new job, where they will fail is their mental diet does not correspond or is in conflict with their overall living in the end scene. Okay, so that's the overall problem, and this is where people seem to trip themselves up. So I'm here to explain how can you change your mental diet and have it correspond and not conflict with your end scene. So with the example of requiring, you want to desire a specific person. Okay, where does this fall into play? So I'm trying to desire a specific person. I imagine the scene, it feels great, it feels real. But then, a day, 2 days later, what's our current inner dialogue? We could be telling ourselves, oh, this person stays thousands of miles away, they've blocked me on social media, there's no way I can get this person, this doesn't work, all these different things. This is all negative inner dialogue which corresponds to the old man, as Neville puts it. You can see the problem here straight away as it doesn't correspond with our new concept of ourself, okay? And that's what the living in the end scene, the imaginal scene should do. It should give us a new concept of self, because that should be ultimately impressed on our own subconscious mind. Okay? In regards to wanting to manifest a better job, we do the scene, we know what we want, we know what kind of job we want, we then do the scene, it feels real, feels great. 2 days later, we then go into this negative chatter of, oh, how am I going to get this job? There's more people more qualified than me, I don't have the qualifications, the job just seems way out of my reach, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. Straight away, negative inner dialogue. How do we change that to correspond with our living in the end scene? Is we imagine we've carried out the scene, we imagine it, we feel it real, and then we say, oh, I love that I'm in this new job, I love that they trust me with this position, I love that I make so much money in this position, they can see I'm the right person for the job, I'm so good at what I do, and that feels real and it feels more in correspondence with our living in the end scene, okay? The important thing here is not to force the change of the inner dialogue, okay? What I mean by that is the subconscious mind does not respond well to force, okay? So if you are trying to change your mental diet, don't, when you get that negative thought, immediately try and change it, because that is ultimately resistance, it's judgment that it's a negative thought as well, and there's also suppression there. So what is the best way to go about changing these thoughts? The best way is to observe the thought, don't get involved in it, don't let it overtake you, don't identify with the thought as being you. Simply observe that the thought is it's a collection of a limiting belief and an assumption of our past, and this past is not us any longer, okay? we become aware of it, we notice it, and we don't judge it. We just simply realise that it is non-serving to us, at which point, after our observation from it, we can then turn our attention to what we desire to manifest. By asking ourselves, we go deep within and we ask ourselves the question, if I were now in possession of my desire, how would I be thinking? What would be going through my mind? How would I be talking to myself? How would I see myself were I now in possession of this thing? Okay? At which point, we allow the thoughts to come up. We don't try and force them with statements. We just allow them to come up, and more often than not, it'll be, oh, I'm so lucky I have this job. I'm so grateful that the job's done. I'm so grateful that people see me in such a good light. I'm so grateful for all this experience. With regards to a specific person, we have the thought of being unworthy and unloved. We don't judge it. We're aware of it. We understand that it's from old limiting beliefs. We allow it to pass. And then, from the next step, we ask ourselves, if I was truly in this relationship, marriage, whatever it is you're looking for in a relationship or from a specific person, we ask ourselves, what would I be saying to myself were I now in possession of this desire? And again, we don't force it, we allow it to come up. Because what we can also do here, with a little tip, is we can look back on our imaginal scene as being a memory, as opposed to being something we are trying to manifest. Because if we've impressed the subconscious mind properly, we can reflect on it as a memory image, not as something we're trying to get. If we've impressed it properly, the imaginal scene will effectively be repeated as a memory, at which point we can reflect on it and not look ahead to it. We can reflect on the memory and say, oh, I'm so lucky I'm in this relationship. We speak so much. It's great that they always want to talk to me. All these different things start coming up, okay? So when we've impressed the subconscious mind properly, the imaginal scene becomes a memory, and it ultimately makes changing the mental diet and making the inner dialogue more in correspondence with our desire. Okay, so I hope this has helped everyone. I'm going to put the link down below to the Neville Goddard Mental Diets lecture, where he explains a story about a young woman who thought her boss was being unfair to her, and he explained to her that she had to change her mental diet in correspondence with the situation to conform to what she desired to experience, at which point the person's behaviour changed because it corresponded more with her change. And as I said a lot, all change comes from within. As within, so without. If we're trying to change everything on the outside, it's futile unless we change it on the inside. So just as important as the imaginal scene is our conception of self. And our conception of self can easily be changed when we actually start being more aware of our thoughts, more observant of the thoughts, and become much more aware of our inner dialogue, and ultimately that creates a more healthier mental diet in correspondence with our goal. So I hope this video has helped everyone. If you like it, then hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll put a link down below for the Neville Goddard Mental Diet lecture. It's just a 20-minute video, but really interesting, and it pretty much covers everything that I've explained here as well, but obviously in a more Neville probably a better put across way of doing so. So I hope this has helped. If you like, as I said, like, subscribe. Feel free to send us an email. If anyone has any requests on videos, be sure to fire them onto email and I'll get through them, and I'll be making more videos in future. Take care.